Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look back at the 2022 Breeders Cup Juvenile at Keeneland. Cave Rock went into this race the heavy favorite, but it was Forte who pulled off a slight upset, winning his third Grade 1 of 2022 and likely nailing down championship honors. We break from the gate. We're going to watch Cave Rock, one of the two in here trained by Bob Baffert, breaking from post position 3, hustled out of there to make the front. That's his style. Hurricane J from the inside is going to make him work through a first quarter in 22-4.
Yeah, big long shot, secured the rail on Cave Rock here and just didn't concede to him around this first turn, Dan, nor should he have. They're going for a big purse here. That horse wanted to use his speed. He did so, and he softened Cave Rock up just enough in this race for Forte to come and run him down through the stretch. Ultimately, this pace just turned out to be, I guess, a little too fast for Cave Rock.
And you'll see Forte, who showed his affinity for Keeneland in his prior start, the Breeders' Futurity, take up a very nice position, saving ground early under Arad Ortiz, as Cave Rock now begins to inch away from Hurricane J on the backstretch. A nice trip and ride from Forte, who was very game yet again.
Yeah, true. He got to me, it's a very similar trip to the one that he got in the win in the prep for this in the Breeders' Futurity. He's just that handy kind of horse, Dan. He's never going to be too far away from the pace, but he's very comfortable tracking along, even if it happens to be towards the inside and behind horses. But Irad, he just does everything right here. He lets the horse get to the outside here as they come around this final turn here. He's going to take him 4 wide at the top of the stretch, and Forte is going to do the rest. You can actually see this horse kick in once he straightens away, and he's going to run down Cave Rock relatively easily.
It took Cave Rock a while. He's on his left lead right here. He did try to extend on the second turn into that short stretch, but as Mike mentioned, Forte is extending down to the wire, gets the better of Cave Rock, wins fairly handily under the line under Arad Ortiz for Todd Pletcher. Forte wins it. Let's talk a little bit about Cave Rock's performance. He worked hard in this race. He had to battle with that long shot Hurricane J, who ended up finishing nowhere. It's always disappointing to lose at 2-5, but considering that this was a very solid pace, he ran well again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it was some kind of terrible performance, even though he didn't reach another triple-digit buyer. He wound up with a 99. He still ran well. I don't think you would watch this race back, or at least I didn't, and say, oh, man, he had, a huge excuse there. The pace was very solid, especially early on, and he didn't, break right on top in this race. But he was still right where he wanted to be. He took this thing over around the final turn. He was on the lead in the stretch. And ultimately, Dan, I would just say he wasn't good enough.
Cave Rock's stablemate, National Treasure, as he did in their prior start, the American Pharaoh, finished 1 behind his fancied stablemate. He was fine in here, National Treasure. He tracked outside. He had a chance going into the second turn. He just couldn't stay with the top two.
Yeah, I would put it the same way that you just did, Dan. He ran fine in here. He got the trip that he wanted to get, I think, right up close to the pace, sort of towards the outside and in the clear. And he had a real shot at this thing as they came into the stretch. He just wasn't quite good enough.
Blazing Sevens, the winner of the Champagne over a wet track, was trying 2 turns here. Verifying was second in the Champagne. They both kind of got bounced around a little bit out of the gate. Blazing Sevens was staying on a little bit for 4th.
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't love the way either he or Verifying really finished in this race, Dan. They both, were sort of forging on at the end of this race, but they weren't flying through the stretch here. I didn't see, huge excuses for them. At this stage of the game, I think you would just have to say the 1-2 finishers sort of head and shoulders above the rest in here. The other horses did what they could do in here, but there weren't, in my opinion anyway, tons of excuses behind these horses.
Curly Jack was a little bit sharper than I expected him to be, close to the pace. He was coming into this race a little bit fresh. He ended up finishing an okay 5th, while no match for the top 4. There's probably something for him down the line. I'm not sure if he's a true Kentucky Derby candidate, but these horses can obviously improve by leaps and bounds week after week.
Yeah, you want to give these horses, keep an open mind about them, give them the chances to sort of regroup and take, big step forwards early into next year, which is what the newly turned 3-year-olds are supposed to be doing.
Lost Arc Forte stablemate was eased and walked off. Todd Pletcher says he's okay. They're going to regroup with him. Let's take a closer look at Forte. This is a son of violence. He's won 4 of 5. He earned a 100 Buyers speed figure for the first time in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That after pairing up 92s in the Hopeful and Breeders' Futurity. He's going to be the 2-year-old champion. Pletcher says it's only going to be a 2-race campaign going into the Derby if things go right. Likely one start at Florida, then either the Florida Derby or the Bluegrass, where he loves it at Keeneland.
He's already shown that he loves it at Keeneland, that's for sure. I'm sure they'll try to prep him there. Listen, this is how they campaign 3-year-olds now, Dan. I guess you only get to see him twice before the Derby. I hope it's enough.
Taking a look at the prices. Second choice Forte, and a distant one at that, pays $12.04 for Todd Pletcher and Arad Ortiz. Cave Rock and National Treasure, the 2 Baffert trainees, run second and third for a 4-3-10 trifecta. Forte, 3-time Grade 1 winner, deserving 2-year-old champion of 2022.